Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, did a presentation allegedly today, per Ross Dellinger, in reference to an expanded playoff of 24 teams. This comes after the last couple of weeks that the Big Ten tried to make another unique move with the capital investments, but it seems like that expanded playoff is getting some pushback here. Joe, I sent this to you, but in the expansion, they want a 4-4-4-4-2-6 model. So 4 automatic qualifiers for each Power 4 team, 2 for the group of 5, and 6 at-large bids. Joe, here we go again with this stupid expanded playoff, but I kick it off to you first. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this model had been reported on previously multiple times by Ross Dellinger over the course of the beginning of the season, during the offseason. And now we've gotten to the point where there was a presentation that was presented. There is a deadline coming up imposed by ESPN on December 1st that is effectively creating this timeline where they got to decide what they're going to do. It's a couple weeks away. They got to come to a decision. It feels tight enough that we hopefully don't get any changes. Like, I've been reading this book. Bill Connolly wrote it. It recently came out, called Forward Progress. I implore any college football fan to read it because Forward Progress. Let me double check that. It came out, I think, this offseason, and it talks a lot about all the changes that have happened in the sport to better put in perspective how things are shifting. And it also, one of the chapters at the very beginning of it's really intriguing because it compares the downfalls of other sports that made similar mistakes that killed them. One of the biggest ones that was brought up was how NASCAR had a very convoluted and confusing postseason structure that they implemented down the line. And its popularity has completely diminished. There were other million changes that it brought up, that some of them were kind of parallel to college football. But I thought that the one part that really, really connected with what we're seeing right now in college football is the way that they made it so convoluted and confusing to keep up with. And there were too many changes that happened all at once. When you change too many things, Blake, too quickly, fans get disinterested. And when you change to create a model that takes away the true spirit of the sport, fans get disinterested. You are disrespecting the integrity of the sport. At a certain point, I am all in favor of putting more resources into college football. But at a certain point, we have to recognize the diminishing returns that come after there starts to be too much being altered. We can't jump to a 24-team model. We just started with the 12-team model. Can we see if the damn 12-team model works? Can we see if the viewership and the popularity of it is worth expanding further? And if we're going to expand, go to 16 before we jump to 24. As somebody who follows FCS football, the FCS football playoff, the opening round games are meaningless. They're boring. Most of them are blowouts. The best games happen in the final 8. Stop trying to expand this stuff. It is only going to kill the popularity of the sport. It is only going to hurt it. There is really no positive outcome for this because they're just trying to chase a dollar.
What makes college football unique? I'm asking, what makes it unique?
Oh, I can name a million things.
Okay, well, it's normally the thing that makes it the most unique than anything. Every single week matters. Every single week. Because if you have more than 2 losses now, you're done. You're done. Like it's over. Joe, we have a 12-team playoff right now, as everyone knows. We're debating on the probably 9 through 12. A lot of them don't really have any business being in there right now. There's probably 4 teams that we realistically think that can win a national title right now. Now what? Now what? So now you want to expand it? Can someone please explain to me why we want to expand a playoff when 12 teams can barely get in? Why? I mean, like, their thought process is if we expand to 24 teams, then it will make every week more plausible because you're fighting for a playoff every week. You're fighting for a playoff spot. No, you're not. No, you are not. What makes this sport unique is is not a playoff game. It's that every single week matters to the highest degree because there's so many slots. Joe, I got to ask a God's honest question. This is a little rhetorical. Does Tony Petitti have any idea what college football is? Does he have really any clue? Because I'm starting to get to a point where I have no clue if Tony Petitti understands what he governs. Like, I really don't. So you try to go to capital investments that got shot down. You've been trying to expand the playoffs. It looks like it's going to get shot down. You try to do play-in games. That got shut down. I don't agree with Greg Sankey to go to 16 teams. And let me tell you what pisses me off more than anything. They want to go to an AQ model. Can you name 4 teams from the ACC and the Big 12 that deserve to be in the playoff?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. You don't. And everybody goes, well, Blake, if you want to make a super league, then make a super league. It has nothing to do with that. You want to expand the playoff, and you got to, with all due respect to the ACC and the Big 12, you're not the Big 10. You're not the SEC. You're just not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to go through all of that and hear it, and it hurts your little feelings. But the truth of the matter is, Joe, they want to go 4 teams from the ACC and the Big 12. Why is Tony Petitti not trying to align with Greg Sankey and say to himself, we want to stick at 12 and we get 4 automatic qualifiers no matter what? Or the most plausible thing, why don't we go at large? This AQ model and every single decision that he has made, name one good one. Name a good one, because I don't think capital investments is a good one. I don't think an AQ model is a good one. I don't think expanding to a 2014 playoff is a good one. It's not all on Petitti. Greg Sankey is a part of this too. This is a joke. It's a joke, and they are doing exactly what you said. They will make people disinterested. I don't think people will be disinterested like it were in NASCAR. I think that's a really big stretch by Bill Conley. Racing versus football is a completely different scenario and situation. But at the same time, people will get disinterested when games don't matter. When blowouts keep happening. Newsflash, you son of a guns. There were blowouts in round 1. These teams got blown out. Newsflash, Peter Pan. Newsflash. Well, the score between Penn State and Boise State was close. Joe, I don't want to hear this shit. They got blown out. SMU barely could get past the 50-yard line in the first half. Barely. What are we doing? What are we doing? If an SMU team can't get past the 50-yard line, you want to expand it more? You want to give 4 teams from the ACC and 4 teams from the Big 12? Do you know who those teams are, by the way?
No, off the top of my head.
Okay. Go look at the standings. Go look at the standings. You want Iowa State in the playoff right now? Joe, they're going to be one of the lower-ranked teams. You want them going up against one of these bigger SEC or Big Ten teams? It's a joke. It is a joke.
This is my whole point. They're not doing it for competitive reasons.
They're doing it for money.
It's not being done to create more matchups and to increase the amount of teams that are in the hunt for the playoff. We're right now at the perfect sweet spot for that argument. There are at the current moment arguably 20-ish teams that are in the mix to get into the college football playoff. It's probably a little bit closer to 16, but at the beginning of November, in the last week of October, we could have gone as deep as 30. There were teams that were hovering, and it's the SEC, I think, has been a really good example of how when you have meaningful games and you've got good teams in the conference, every single week has been an elimination week. We thought certain teams were good. They lost. They got knocked out of the mix. Tennessee gets knocked out by playing poorly against Oklahoma and Alabama. Texas gets knocked out for now after the way that they played against Georgia. It has created these elimination style events that have made every single ranked on ranked game must-watch TV. The same thing happens with the Big Ten, too. You have Iowa playing Oregon. Oregon's banged up. Their season's on the line. Iowa's still in the hunt. Iowa then now has another opportunity to redeem themselves against USC. USC proves that they still deserve to be in the hunt. Those style of games have made it incredibly compelling. But when we've got these 4-loss teams playing one another and they're slopping around, who cares? On top of this, big thing that happens in college football, guys get banged up. There's gonna be teams in the playoff that don't have their starting quarterbacks in, and they're gonna barely be hanging on by a thread. I find it hard to believe that, as you said, we have 24 teams that are competitive enough to go out there.
Joe,
it's not a competitiveness. Wait, let me just finish here. It's not a competitiveness argument here. It is a matter of just trying to grab as much money from advertisers as possible to get ESPN to pay as much money as possible for more of these games. It all comes back to my initial point. When you realize that there's more ways to make money, it does not mean that you have to grab every single new avenue. We are in a perfect position right now, I think, for the next 10 years of college football. If we keep changing shit, it is only going to confuse newcomers that want to get involved in the sport, and it's going to turn away the true original fans that loved the uniqueness of the sport. If this turns into a college basketball tournament, I don't think as many – I agree with you, it's not going to turn as bad as NASCAR, but I think that there would be a lot of college football fans that are just going to say, F it, I will watch the NFL if that's what they're trying to do.
I think Tony Petitti needs to be fired. Listen.
I'm sure Michigan's AD would love for that.
I'm not backing down off of this. He does not understand the sport. Joe, you got a TV guy who you brought in as your commissioner and thought he wasn't going to push more TV deals on you. Big Ten, I'm sorry, you don't have a former sitting AD. You don't have a sports guy at the helm. You have a TV revenue guy. I got to be real with you. I think the Big Ten's got to join together and get him out. I'm over this. He keeps Joe, there is no way in human hell that you know the sport the way that you think that you know the sport and say to yourself, hey, let's expand the playoff and let's put 4 ACC teams and 4 Big 12 teams in there. Joe, we don't have 6 teams right now that can win an Natty. We don't. We speculate on it. We talk about it like, oh, Alabama's not out of it. If they can't find a run game, they can't win a Natty. Newsflash, they can't. If A&M keeps lollygagging around, they can't win it. If Oregon can't find a way, well, they don't have receivers right now that can play. They might not be able to win it. Here comes Elks when I say this. Do we know who the real Ohio State is? Do we know what they do during adversity? Do we know? Because right now we have no clue. So I bring all of this up to just say the simpleness of this. He's got to go. I don't like calling for people's jobs, but this is enough. This is ludicrous. This is insane. This is dumb. You thought a TV revenue guy was going to not come in here and try to bring in more TV revenue. Joe, he's trying to bring in capital investments, brother. That should have been the final straw. It should have been the final straw. And listen, he's not the only one. Greg Sankey, if you expand this to 16, I'm coming for you too. Joe, I don't think we're at a sweet spot. I think they got to reduce this thing to 8. And I think they got to take out the G5. They got to take out all the ACC, Big 12 qualifiers. They got to take out qualifiers in general. Take it out in general. It's a simple.
I don't know if we're going to get all those changes, but I think that we're on the same page here. I think Petitti, I gave him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of his hiring, but I think that he's shown that his priorities do not align with what's best for the future of the sport.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Joe, again, the AQ model is dumb. Do we understand how dumb that is? That's the expanding the playoff. Fine. Let's have the conversation. Sell me your pitch. Then he comes to you with AQ model. I mean, Joe, just a newsflash. There's a chance USC could be on the outside looking in, and there would be an ACC team in over them with an automatic qualifier. You get that.
Yeah, that's what's ultimately.
Here's another one.
troubling.
Texas is probably going to be on the outside looking in, or Vanderbilt. You mean to tell me that you think that there's teams in the ACC and the Big 12 that are better than them? So Big 10, SEC, at some point, you got to stop fighting one another and align on this.
Well, that's not going to happen.
No,
That's just not going to happen.
All right, we got a lot of people in here. Guys in the chat, girls in the chat. Would you align with the conferences if it meant no expansion? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, but we don't control that, though. That's Petitti and Sankey that have to get on the
Petitti
same
doesn't
page.
control it. There's a reason it hasn't expanded, because if he got his way, his conference would be taking capital investments.
Yeah, but that's my point, though, is that he wants to do something that's the polar opposite of what Sankey wants, so they're never going to agree.
No,
They clearly
it's gotta
don't.
stay at 12. It's got to stay at 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to stop trying to expand this.